All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from today. Thanks for joining me. I'm the developer advocate over at 0x. I'm Jessica, and really excited for you to be joining us today on our final episode, actually, of Powered by 0x. So it's been a really awesome season, our first season of running the show, of getting to meet builders from across the space, talked with different experts who are just building really just creative projects and really pushing the envelope on the DeFi and NFT usage and adoption across Web3. And want to thank you all for having tuned in throughout this year, tuning in, asking questions, helping reshare the videos. It's been really helpful just to spread the word on what we're building in this space and really share the innovations that are happening. And we're really excited to refactor and bring out even more content for you all next year. So with this episode, it's the final episode of the year. Really just honored to be able to bring you guys two projects from last month's ETH San Francisco Hackathon. So for those of you who might not know, ETH SF is one of the biggest hackathons that happened this year. It brought in over 1,700 attendees from over 46 countries, which means that it was no easy feat for these two projects to come out with awards. And so I'll be introducing the two of them, but before I do, I want to share that if you're interested in building in the space and looking for opportunities to build, at the end of the episode, I'll be sharing some information on our next 0x sponsored hackathon. So this is a place for you to come and you can meet other builders in the space, chat with the 0x team, chat about your ideas, just really feed off of the energy of the builders and get your ideas off the ground. So tune in and stay tuned for the end of this episode where I'll be sharing information on this next hackathon. So with all that said, let's dive into the content for today. And so we'll be talking with two projects. So we'll be talking with Aspan and Portifi. So Aspan, their kind of one-liner is that they're on a mission to offer users access to borderless USD savings accounts on the blockchain. This means that users can earn interest on their cryptocurrencies. And they're starting off by focusing on the country of Kazakhstan and connecting Kazakhstan to DeFi. So they were also awarded Polygon's best use of public goods or refi or refinancing. And I'm really excited to talk with them about how they came up with this idea and how they're building out in this emerging market. And then next we'll have Portifi on, and Portifi is a permissionless, customizable asset manager that democratizes access to quant financing. And they were one of the winners of the best use of the 0x API, and just really looking forward to the conversations with these two really interesting projects in the space. And so as a reminder, this is a live stream. So remember to ask your questions. Feel free to, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, just type your questions into the chat. We'll be able to see them and we can ask them directly to the builders here. So without further ado, I'm going to bring the Aspan team on screen right now. So hold on with me while I bring the crew on. Let's see. And then Manuel and Roy. I think that's everybody. It's like one of the biggest shows for the year, but this is great. Hey everyone, how's it going? Good morning.
Thanks for having us, Jessica.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning. Yeah, excited to have you all on. So how about let's get started by just doing a quick round of introductions. Maybe start off with Julian, and then just work clockwise around.
Sounds good. Yeah. My name is Julian. I am currently leading product for a Web3 firm building a financial stack for DAOs. And yeah, really got started with the Aspan idea back in the late part of spring. I'm based in Kazakhstan. I live there at the moment. I'm in the United States, but really passionate about bringing DeFi to emerging markets. I've lived a time in Latin America. I'm originally from there as well, and really hoping to build something that shapes, these countries that oftentimes I feel like are overlooked by traditional finance and new finance alike.
Great, thanks, Julian. Let's toss it over. Sorry, I want to mispronounce your name. Aijan.
Yes, Aijan. Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is Aijan. I'm originally from Kazakhstan, and I'm based here. I work in payments, and really excited to talk about Aspan today.
Thanks, Aijan.
Hey there, I'm Philip. I'm a small contract developer from Austria, and I was part of the team at ETH San Francisco. And yeah, it was really exciting doing that. And I'm very excited about this project.
Thanks, Philip. And Roy?
Good morning, everyone. I started off my career as a material scientist in digital printing and 3D printing. And 6-7 years, I have been focusing modeling for the equity option space on volatility trading.
Oh, very interesting. Thanks, Roy. And then Emmanuel?
Hello, my name is Emmanuel. I mainly, work with the front end and just making the image. I'm currently still in college, about to start my last semester in January. Like 17th, I think, I don't know. And yeah, just living the developer life, I guess.
I like that, living the developer life. Sounds good. Yeah, so thanks you all again for doing the intros. How about a quick overview of the project? Love to dive more beyond that one-liner I read in the beginning. Anyone want to take that one?
Sure. I can start off. Basically, we've identified two problems. There's problems, of course, on the traditional finance side and problems in blockchain finance. And we're essentially trying to bridge, create a solution that addresses both of these problems. So on the traditional finance side in emerging markets, you have banks that are oftentimes unreliable. You have earnings that are very, most of the times low, if not negative, and inflation and macroeconomic situations that are unstable. You have a lot of people that want dollar exposure but can't get it. And on the blockchain finance side, you have complexity, you have jargon, you have technicalities, and perhaps most importantly, you have most applications that are built for Western audiences. They may be translated into local audiences, but they definitely do not market to them. And so Aspan is really an attempt to change that. We think DeFi is this beautiful space that offers financial flexibility and inclusion. And that is most needed by emerging markets. And so we want to start off with a market that we know very well, Kazakhstan, a place where there are much lower barriers to entry, where the only dominant incumbent is Binance. And we all know the issues with centralized exchanges. Basically build there, develop a great user base, a really dedicated user base, and make a DeFi app that is properly mainstream, not just mainstream for the US, but mainstream for the world.
Yeah, definitely a very powerful sentiment. And yeah, given all that's happened this year, highly agree with really focusing on the decentralized, again, refocusing on the truly decentralized solutions. Is there anything? It looks like are we ready for a project demo, perhaps, or is there anything that we haven't discussed about the project yet that maybe would be helpful to?
The main, I just highlight that the main approach we're taking is to spread the USD savings portion of it on stablecoins right now. So iteration will simply do a three-way of user deposits into USD and Tether. And further down the line, to implement a dynamic strategy that won't change the way we the various stable coins, but will allow us to the current deposit so that if we need to say exit because of some risk with their with risk in general with Tether, we can 0x to swap out Tether DAI USDT, or maybe news may emerge and gain traction, such as FRAC. So that's the impetus. Excuse me. That's the impetus for using zero. It gives us a way to between stable coins and minimize this.
Okay, so if I caught some of that, sorry, the audio is a little bit choppy, but if I caught some of it, so it sounds like you all are, so it focuses on a specific subset of stable coins, and then it's using 0x to swap between the different options in a way to minimize risk depending on whatever's happening in the market at the time.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah, is there, maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on why the focus on just these stable coins? Is that just for this initial stage, or is that part of the long-term vision?
Yeah, the initial stage is, we kind of like divide it into three. There's onboarding these new users that are not currently targeted. Then there's finding more efficient ways to onboard them. And then there's creating different types of lending mechanisms for these users that are more specific to their local context. So we're right now focused on stage one. And for stage one, we really want to focus on the most stable, the most liquid, the most battle-tested stable coins, along with protocols. It's kind of the focus behind focusing on over-collateralized lending. The idea being to provide a credible and trustworthy way to onboard onto DeFi, because our users, they're cunning and they know how to spot fraud when it's out there plain and simple. And so we really want to provide an app that is simple to understand and believable. So yeah, the focus on these stable coins, it's intentional.
I see. And then maybe last question then before we dive into the demo is, so say a user, and maybe I'll walk through this in the demo, but so say the user deposits money onto the app, and so they choose, say, a stable coin they want to deposit into, and then on the back end, is it like, do they know what it's going into? So say, is it going into Aave, or is that happening kind of a little bit out of their hands, meaning like they don't need to know too much about what's happening. They just know like the returns on it, and then at some point, whatever point they would need to remove it, they can remove it.
Yeah, I think Philip, maybe you can describe it and then segue into the user journey.
Yeah, right. So basically what's happening is users pick a strategy they want to invest in. For example, Aspan standard savings. And yeah, that's basically just a pool of 3 stablecoin lending pools on Aave. They select it, and then the money gets funneled into these pools. But we don't actually tell them directly what we're doing. We give them the option. We provide information on an info tab, but we're trying to kind of get rid of almost every single non-necessary Web3 terminology. We try to keep it as simple as possible. Users get the option to know what the app is actually doing. We provide the information, but not necessarily on the top layer of the UI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. It's like, I think this is a probably ongoing question or ongoing discussion of like, as we're expanding out and kind of essentially going more mainstream, like how do we bring in more adoption by creating user experiences that, you know, obfuscate the complexity of things while still providing them clarity and transparency to what is happening. So yeah, really excited to see how you guys are going about this. Do you want to go into the demo now? It feels like,
yeah, sure,
opportune time. All right, so then I'll pull the demo on screen, and then I'll hand you the reins and let you walk through it. Maybe.
Cool.
I was thinking if I should take myself backstage because to give it more space. Yeah, I'll take myself backstage. I'll let you just do the intro. Oh, sorry, go through the demo.
Cool. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is our prototype app as we have it right now. You have to imagine this being a mobile app on a mobile phone. Yeah, right. So this is the first screen. Basically just yeah, having the logo there and yeah. And then at the bottom we have the how does it work button. And right at the beginning of the app, we kind of try to walk users through how the app works and what we're actually doing and what we're offering. But we try to keep it as simple as possible. So we tell them, okay, with Aspen, you can save and earn in US dollars. You can protect your savings from local inflation. And at the bottom, we actually tell them a little bit what we're doing. We are converting their deposits into US dollar digital currencies. Right, and we have 3 of these slides, safe and sound. It's secured by blockchain technology. And it's also available anywhere, anytime. You can deposit and withdraw from any country, no matter the hour. And yeah, we connect them to decentralized finance, where basically no central authority is in control, and users are actually the ones that are in full control of their financials. Yeah, then we go on and we let users create their accounts. We do that by basically just as simple as possible with their social logins or with their email. And what's actually happening here is when users create an account, for example, I'm signing in with my email right now with my email. When they actually create an account and sign in, at the back end, we create an EOA for them. So now when they've signed in, users not only have signed in into their Aspen account, but without them knowing, they already have a wallet. And we actually, if you've noticed, we haven't even dropped the word wallet. We didn't even explain it. We keep it as simple as possible. And yeah, that's how we do it. So here's the dashboard. This is basically how the app looks like. We have a balance at the top, currently $10 in with 0.3 cents in profits. These are actual profits from the app right now. It's already live on blockchain. And yeah, we have deposit, withdraw buttons. We have the graph of how the money has grown so far. And at the bottom, we have a small history tab of what has happened in the app. And yeah. And once users actually choose to click on deposit, we let them choose a strategy. For now, we only have the standard savings, which are low risk, high flexibility. And again, as I already have kind of teased, if users actually want to know what's happening when they pick their strategy, they can click on this info tab here. And this is basically where we tell them what's happening. We go not very into detail, but we actually get into some blockchain terminology to explain how this actually works. And yeah, we want to be really transparent with what we're doing, but at the same time, we want to keep it as simple as possible. So we only have that once users click on it, and once users actually want to know what Aspen is doing. We don't want to flood them with Web3 jargon like wallets, stable coins, etc. I keep it as simple as possible. And yeah, once users click on it, they can select an amount they want to deposit and make the deposit. And kind of the same with withdrawals. They can select an amount they want to withdraw. For example, I can just, well, we could actually try it. Let's go for $1. And once we actually send the transaction, a pop-up pops up. This is currently integrated with a wallet from Magic. So with the social login, the Magic SDK, which is an external provider, creates that EOA. And yeah, we can go on, send that transaction. And it should take a couple of seconds to get processed by the blockchain on Polygon. But once it has, it's gonna update the balance and yeah, withdrawal successful. So now we're gonna, oops, didn't quite update. Maybe we have to reload. Oh, we actually, oh, okay. never mind. App is a bit buggy right now. Some bugs there. Yeah, this is a prototype, a bit buggy, but you get the idea. We want to try to keep it as simple as possible. Let users withdraw at any time with basically no border there, and yeah, we have accidentally withdrawn all the money. But yeah, this is a prototype. It's only a demo for now. It doesn't work quite well. It's still a bit buggy, as you can see. But yeah, this is how we want to drive users through the app, keep it as simple as possible, and yeah, let them earn some interest on their US dollar deposits.
Nice. Well, yeah, thanks for walking through the demo. Also, just you use Magic to create the wallet? Just
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to dive into the Magic Magic toolset SDK. I feel like they definitely do quite a bit of really interesting things. So
yeah,
cool to see you guys be using it. Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about the other integrations. We touched on how you guys use 0x in the beginning. Maybe is there an opportunity to showcase that right now? I know there's no more balance left, but maybe just showing like where.
Well, we could actually have a look at the transaction. If we look at the transaction, you can actually see what's happening. So basically, it converts. So users, yeah, right. So users, when they actually deposit, they get a representation of value in terms of an actual Aspan token, like a token issued by us. And that Aspan token is pegged to basically the value of the user's deposit and how it grows on Aave.
Oh,
and when users want to withdraw their money, they basically burn their Aspan token, and yeah, in exchange for that, we basically withdraw the funds from Aave, swap it using 0x, and transfer the USDC back to the user.
Okay, I see. So that's when it happens.
Yeah, and that's actually what happens here. A lot of token transfers. You can see that. Yeah, a lot of transfers from the pools and Aave. Yeah.
I see. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing that. Maybe just question to the group overall. Like, what were some of the biggest challenges, both at the hackathon and then also after the hackathon, that now that you're building this project out as a fully fledged project, anything that you've kind of learned along the way?
Absolutely. I think on the technical side, there's of course a lot of testing that needs to happen, and that's actually why we're fundraising at the moment, so that we can spend a full amount of time really diagnosing and getting everything to perfection. The Asian continent as a whole is filled with users that are very impatient and expect pretty high quality in the fintech that they are offered. Even like Kazakhstan, for example, Aijan can speak a little bit more about this, but it's a country with some really great fintech applications. And so, yeah, I'd say the biggest challenge is getting a user experience that matches those applications.
Yeah, makes sense. Like users just want things that work well and work fast. So getting a product to that speed.
Exactly. Yeah, and as in Western markets, I feel like some of the ideology behind crypto lands, decentralization, anonymity, this sort of stuff, I don't really, I mean, Aijan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the majority of Kazakh users don't really care about that. Like they just want to you're offering me a USD savings account? Cool, let me use it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
One of the challenges that I encounter using 0x in the development phase, an issue that when I was working the blockchain in development, 0x is current state of the blockchain. After you fork the blockchain, you can't really use 0x, say 10 because new transactions have happened, and so that you attempt to on your forked blockchain, if you're making an API call, you are querying the current state of the blockchain, trying to implement a swap on a fork blockchain, and that won't necessarily work. There is a workaround, so you can just make the 0x calls both for our deposit and a withdraw right before blockchain, and then you can kind of call data generated from the API call, execute whatever you want to do on your forked blockchain. So it was just a little bit of a workaround and if it actually is helpful, wants to do development work on a fork 0x, I have some I've written up and think about kind of using, but it's a good hack and use 0x for development purposes.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling that out. Thank you for calling that out. That's actually one of the things that we've written down that I actually do want to circle back with you next year. So just updating our tutorials specifically on the testing side. I think some teams have, say, just been using, say, testnets, but sometimes that's not sufficient. So yeah, definitely we'll circle back with you about the guide that you have put together, because I can imagine, there's probably many teams out there that are trying to figure out like how to go around this issue. So
one of the issues with layer 2s, there are so many implementations of stablecoins. There is no uniform standard. Aave uses a different stablecoin for USDC than a different protocol. So it's kind of a jump in the testnet ecosystem is better too.
Oh, for sure. It's like you just look up one token and you get like 50
it's
variations.
It's a bit of a cluster mess. So but you can definitely do work on a forked blockchain with 0x. It just took a little while to get that out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's definitely iron that out. But especially by next hackathon, making sure it's easy for people to test with. So yeah, thanks for calling that out, Roy. I did want to ask, like, how's from the UI side? Since we have Emmanuel here, maybe is there anything that from the user experience side you've had to take into account? We've talked about trying to make it transparent and streamline the process for users. Julian mentioned just getting it out, getting experience into the hands of the users quick. Is there anything that your team and you specifically has had to think about in designing it?
Yeah, make it as straightforward and as quick and non-jargon filled, non-confusing as possible. Whenever we're doing like the Figma screens, I like to think like, how would my mom be working this? How would someone that's not so, I guess you can say, like tech savvy, or someone that isn't as comfortable with all these types of like blockchain, all these words that we're throwing around and all these practices we're using on Aspan. So just make it as nice, user-friendly, make sure it's not too overwhelming for anybody to use.
Yeah, I think even in the beginning, Philip mentioned like you don't even have the word wallet come up on the screen. So thinking of how a I guess non-Web3 native person right now goes about, like, say, accessing a bank account, just some terms that they're more comfortable with. Well, I wanted to kind of turn the conversation a little bit to what you guys are working on now. Julian mentioned fundraising. Maybe give a high-level roadmap of what you guys are working on now. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely, yeah. I can go on the fundraising part, and maybe Ajahn can talk a bit about the regulatory part, because that's also. I think I dropped off. Yeah, basically, on the fundraising part, it's basically we're looking to raise about $1 million to have a 12-month runway, pretty standard. And the idea being getting to a point where we have smart contract audits. We have the UI perfected. I mean, the UI, the user experience, I think that's gonna take maybe 1, 2, 3 months max. But really, the smart contract audits. I mean, if we're gonna reach a scale to materially impact the Kazakh savings market and expand beyond that, and maybe even one day go into Latin America, which is what we do intend. These smart contracts don't have to be perfect. Like with a broad retail audience like that, we could very well land ourselves in prison if we're not careful enough. So yeah, I think that's really the big priority. And then beyond that, it's the marketing effort. And in the marketing effort, I include the legal part of it. So actually, we have a lawyer in Kazakhstan who's a friend of a friend, and she's helping us with getting the necessary legal clearances to launch the beta, to bring on users. I mean, the beautiful thing is that really I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I think that was just Ajan's.
Oh, Ajan's coming back.
Going back on.
Right. Yeah, maybe Ajan, if you want to talk about the regulatory bit a little bit, like what we're doing there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My internet got broken off. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, it's just what we're doing right now on the regulatory front. If you want to give a.
Oh yeah. There. Okay. So for us, it's a very important priority to get a regulatory license, and we're currently in the process of getting the approval from Astana International Financial Hub. It's a basically free trading zone in Kazakhstan. It's located at the capital city, and basically what it is, it allows startups and especially tech startups to get their business started, and allows it to do with special legal permissions from the government. For example, participants of this tech hub, they don't pay any taxes for the first 3 or 5 years of their operations, and it's to get the regulatory license, especially for fintech firms, it's easier if you do it through AAFC. And we already got the preliminary approval to register Aspan, and currently we're in the process of getting the full license. And the biggest challenge that we're facing right now is creating the rigorous IT policy, and we're working hard on making sure that Aspan is safe to use, and that's why it is important for us to get this license, to convey to the audience that we are abiding by laws, we have the license, and we are thinking about all of the risks that customers can face when investing through DeFi.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think especially building in any space, but especially like the financial market. Hopefully that wasn't a fire alarm. Okay. No worries. Yeah, especially building the financial space, I was saying, like you were talking about with getting security or getting smart contract audits, like making sure a lot of these things are very bulletproof, and then also abiding by the country's legal regulations are things that maybe, yeah, definitely projects need to think about. So really interesting to hear. It sounds like, so Kazakhstan seems to be crypto friendly. I'm getting that sense.
You can say that. Basically, the country is not allowing to purchase in crypto yet, but trading in crypto is allowed.
I see.
And yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. So then, so users depositing through Aspen is not considered purchasing crypto.
It is considered as investment right now, but in AFC there are no DeFi specific regulations at the moment, and we're actually working together with regulators to create legal norms for investing through DeFi, because right now no such thing exists.
Yeah,
it's very much just like the tech is the Wild West. Regulatory landscapes are also the Wild West, even in places like the US. So a lot of things like that, you know, working in that gray area.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this year is a lot of food for thought for regulators, but I think I think we're definitely moving in a direction that, you know, hopefully we'll get regulation that's needed to help provide safety for users while encouraging like innovations. So exactly. That's really good that you guys are working with the teams out there to do that. Well, I want to, I guess, wrap up the conversation with, is there any way for users who are watching to either connect with your team to learn more? I know that we've dropped links to your Twitter account, to your website. For those who are watching on YouTube, check out the links there. For those who, so asking for ways to connect with you guys, to learn more, perhaps even support your work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our website, aspan.io, we have a waitlist form there, and More than happy to connect with people there. But also, if you want to, email me directly, jduran@aspan.io, or search me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. It's always Julian Duran. Just remember Julian with 2 L's. And so long as you do that, you can find any of us online. We're more than happy to chat more. But yeah, looking for collaborators, investors, and anybody who wants to share ideas. Like, honestly, this is a really cool space. It's, like I said, wild west of a lot of different things. And the only way you get through that is through collaborating. So very keen to connect.
Definitely. Well, with that, are there any final words? Otherwise, yeah, I want to thank you guys for your time, for just kind of this breadth of the conversation, from everywhere from the testing side to walking through user experience to UI to talking about regulations, coming out, taking a hackathon project and taking it full fledged. There's definitely a lot of pieces involved, so really cool to see different parts of the team come together for this.
Yeah, definitely want to thank you, Jessica, and obviously the entire 0x team. I mean, my first time actually pitching Aspan to an audience was actually at like the 0x conference at the pitch competition. So yeah, you guys have definitely been like a very important part of this journey. I remember when I was first talking with Philip and Roy about like just swapping a user's assets, and I was like, head scratching, like I wonder how we're going to do that. And so yeah, you guys have been a great platform to build on, and generally yeah, very much appreciate the exposure and being invited to chat.
Well, yeah, thank you all again. I feel like, yeah, we couldn't be in this space without builders like you. So thank you, and take care. I'll see you all next year then. And for those watching, yeah, please check out the links down below. And yeah, happy 2023, and look forward to seeing where this project continues to grow.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye. So while I am let's transitioning to the next team.
Sorry.
It's okay. I kept there's like so many screens on the left hand side. I'm trying to move people backstage. Missed one there. So yeah, thanks to the Aspan team for coming on and sharing, showcasing their project. But next up, we're really excited to bring on Kunal from Portifi to talk about the project that he's building. Like I mentioned before, Portifi is a permissionless, customizable asset manager. So it's allowing access to quant finance, and really opening up this really specialized trait to builders, to users across the ecosystem. So with that, I'm gonna bring Kunal on screen. Hey, Kunal. Good. Yeah, happy to have you on. Almost happy holidays. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So I'm also in school.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are you on holiday?
Yeah, so we had our finals like a couple of weeks back, so on holidays now too. That's why you see the rest of the team missing right now. So the whole the breakdown of the team is, so it's 4 of us. 3 of us are like a senior year of school, and one of our teammates, he's graduated last year. So
wow. Did you all know each other before coming into the hackathon?
Yes. So last year we all go to like UC San Diego, and UC San Diego didn't have a blockchain club. So it had one, but it died. So we sort of it died in 2018, and we wanted to restart it, and that's how we all met, from this club. And yeah, we go to hackathons and participate. That's like the aim.
Interesting.
Not
So
to have this club die too during bear market.
oh my gosh. No, that's so it died during the bear market.
Yeah, it was there from like 2017 to 18, but it was like yeah.
I see. Yeah. Well, it sounds like well, happy that it's being revived.
Yeah.
Getting revived, and then we'll stay resuscitated through this bear market.
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah, that was like so that's like the team, and I got into crypto back in like last summer, and although I missed like the whole DeFi summer part in 2020, I really liked Yearn. and uh, uh, and the yearn, I really like the idea of yearn and how like it was structured. And it was like the one true like DAO, and like how like they had token distribution, and it wasn't like halfway DAO, halfway labs, and like so I really liked it. But that's actually like origins of the idea of Portifi. And
Oh, interesting.
like Yearn was, so this was when we were working with like Yearn V2, and we had like they had like a whole bunch of strategies, and they have managers, but like it's really difficult to get a strategy on board. And so I always felt there was like more of a market for like long tail of strategies which go cross chain. Usually the ones on Yearn are like more involved with like more blue chip stuff like Aave, Compound, Curve. But I feel like there's users who are willing to go, especially when your like returns on centralized exchanges and all the other sources of returns have collapsed. It's better to dabble only in DeFi.
I see. I see.
So that was like the main origin idea of Portifi.
Hmm.
And we sort of like started with that. Uh, we came across 0x, and one thing was like, if you need some kind of these strategies which are like very high velocity, you want to have a lot of trades. So it's important to not have like gas every time you make a trade, right? So that is why we wanted to have like a call a 0x API more often than just do like Uniswap trades.
I see. I see. Oh, okay. So, here's what I'm trying to. Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah, looking at Yearn, and then like wanting to expand out what users are able to access in terms of
Yeah.
trading strategy.
Yeah, so like an example would be like, if you have like like a bot, like MEV bot, which a lot of the bots, like especially like our bots, they're like, you're starting to get into very nitty-gritty stuff of like building bots. But like there's a lot of strategies, like MEV strategies, which are left like untouched because they need some kind of capital to get started with. So this is like, if you are running like you're a manager of a vault and your like specialty is MEV, so you could have like people deposit money into the vault and, execute your trade.
I see. I see. So, so it sounds like definitely a two-sided market. So there's those individuals that are running and maintaining these vaults. Maybe you can talk about who are these individuals, and
Yeah. So as like Yearn, basically you have like a vault and you have like a manager slash controller, which has like or like admin access to the vault and the funds. But there's like we have had like this bonding mechanism where they need to have something staked, and we are also like thinking about having like some kind of like a Polygon ID so that they have like some kind of reputation at stake too. So because it's like these are like sort of like more like long tail strategies, right? Which are more lossy in a way, but also like they are like on like the more higher risk end of the spectrum. So there needs to be some kind of accountability for the managers themselves. But so we assume, so our like target audience for being managers are people who are like very active on like Twitter, on like, oh, I did this strategy and like this is all my like breakdown. Now they have like sort of like more bullets to fire in a way. And then the people who are putting money into the vault, they have like they're just people who want to have like a way to have like a passive income, right? Passive, like sort of like the same audience as Yearn in a way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have a demo perhaps that we could walk through?
Yeah, so we have like a mock-up. We have like a front end, but it's not
Yeah.
like it's not functional yet. We plan to like be live with like Denver during that sort of time. Can you see it?
Yes, let me pull that on screen for us.
Yeah, so this is what oh, okay. So the first two strategies which we were like, like just for the prototype, we wanted to have was like whale watching, which is like sort of like we went on Nansen and saw like which are the most active traders, and we basically like copy them. So we have our own like, so this is like us being the manager. And so we sort of like copy them, and like every 5 minutes we check, oh, if our like portfolio matches their portfolio. Obviously, this is like a very sample kind of a thing because it's like very easy to game, right? For
Mhm.
like the if someone realizes, oh, I'm being watched, I'll act differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just like how it's doing, what's the allocation like, and we would also have like a tab on the the profile of the portfolio manager too, so that's like a bit more transparent.
I see.
Yeah.
So this is one
Yeah.
flavor of it, but
So we had a couple of, so right now we have like two strategies, which is like one is watching copy trading, and another one is like mean reversion, which is like we sort of like got like the top 10 most liquid tokens like ERC20s on Ethereum and like that DeFi projects, and then like whichever goes down the furthest, we like allocate more to it. It's like sort of like a mean reversion thing, but it's also like uh, it's pretty like rudimentary right now. There's no like sophistication right now, so it's like we want other people to make strategies rather than us. It's like more like using an example.
I see.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then maybe talk a little bit about the tooling that you're using for this. So you mentioned when you're using 0x to swap in and out to reduce the fees, and then
Yeah. So we use the API, the 0x swap API, so to fetch codes and then swaps. And in terms of tooling, we have like our vault is structured like the popular standard now, like ERC 4626, which is like a tokenized vault, and you have like underlying shares versus it's also ERC20 compatible. So that's most used by most people right now. Like I think Faye, even I think Yearn has like an adapter. So it's like it will become more and more popular going forward. And yeah, that's like a tooling. We use Foundry. We use EC2 to like run like our jobs in the background and to like balance the portfolio. And yeah, that's
oh,
our
I see.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point about because it's continuously watching,
Yeah.
rebalancing. Yeah, that's a good point. I think so. During the hackathon, you mentioned about you wanted to use 0x directly in the smart contract.
Yeah. Yeah. So we sort of like during the hackathon, we had like a very hacky way of doing it is uh, we had a like vault contract which you basically deposited the money to, and then there was like a strategy contract which every time you wanted to rebalance, we sort of like send it to the strategy contract. But then the whole idea was like, oh, I want to do like these swaps cashlessly, right? So I can't make calls in my contract, right? So what we did is like for the time being, like we send it to like a EOA and you swap the funds and bring it back. So that was like a very hacky way of going like around how you would do it in like 36 hours or something. But when then uh, we've read more into like ERC 1271, which is like smart contract signatures, right? So you can like just sign here and then you do off-chain without sending money to any AOA. So that's been like what we've been up to after the hackathon, and that's why we didn't want to do like trades on the contract itself. We wanted to use 0x's API, and especially like you have like tools like it's not enough to if it's like swaps is like only the starting, right? We want to use like limit orders and like things which are like not like possible on chain or like gasless. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like no. Now that you mentioned just using ERC 1271, like why did we just like think about that when because I think
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
at the hackathon. So I'm glad. Yeah, that's a good learning insight. Or
Yeah.
for future
Yeah, I mean,
projects.
all of us are like we're like not super deep into like Solidity, right? So there's like a lot of
Yeah.
things to optimize here and there, and it will be like going forward, you need like because like if you are making trades like every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you want to make sure like you're not wasting money on gas.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. I think was there anything else at the demo that you wanted to call out? I think I hope I didn't jump out of it too quickly.
Out of the demo?
Yeah, was there anything else that you wanted to share there?
I mean, there was the mock-up, right? I didn't have like a live demo right now, so
Okay,
yeah.
oh good.
So yeah, also in terms of like, we were also like experimenting in terms of like lockups, because
Mm.
you don't want to have like users just deposit and then like just withdraw right then, right? You need like some kind of a lockup. So that's like something we need to like iterate on, because we haven't like, one thing we are missing is like having like user feedback right now. So
Mhm.
I think in
Mm.
that's why we want to have like a very like even a very basic like demo ready, so that people can see and how it works and what people like in terms of like what's the preference for like lockup periods, how much do they want the managers to stake, and all of that.
Yeah.
Waivers. I mean, the walls themselves are like pretty flexible, but what's like your general guideline?
Mhm. Well, yeah, speaking of which, then what are your plans for next year? So it sounds like getting more user feedback, kind of refining the experience, whether that's like lockup periods, how much you're staking. Maybe talk a little bit about that. Is it so? It sounds like your team is just, is it 4 people right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we don't like we plan to have it like sort of like as a public good, so that we push it out. Like our timeline is looking like we'll like release it by ETH Denver, so we can like that's like your best audience there. So we release it then, and before that, just like sort of like iterate over like what the world standards are. So we have it live on like Girly, and sort of what Julian was saying is like you have data from like the mainnet, but you sort of like play it out in Girly, so sort of like a play mining kind of a world. So yeah, actually regarding that, we had like we were using Foundry, right? So we were using forge testing during the hackathon, and we didn't realize like, so we had to like sort of have like mock tokens of all of them. So because the important part of testing it is like how the actual data is, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't realize there's like this nice quirk to like Foundry, which is like you could do dot deal, and like you could just make yourself the owner of like Circle something. So
Oh, really? Wait, that too.
yeah, like you could be like the issuer of a USDC. So
Yeah.
that's like, oh, also like our vaults have like a denomination. So some of vaults are like USDC, some are like ETH. That's
Mhm.
like another thing we haven't really decided upon. Like having like the vaults, like if you have returns, should it be returning
Yeah.
denominated USDC or like ETH?
Hmm.
So people can only deposit USDC. That is how it's like sort of like a guard.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I was thinking of 2 different things here. So, one, the hackathon testing hack, or just like the testing hack in general. So the
Yeah.
dot deal, is it you can be the issuer of any?
Yeah. You can imitate some other address, right? So I can imitate like the issue, like the owner of Circle. Uh,
Yeah. Oh,
so
okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
So that way you don't have to like start creating all your mock tokens,
Yeah.
like mock USDC, mock Aave, mock ETH,
Mhm.
and everything. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Definitely, we'll put that on the hackathon cheat sheet for ETH Denver.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And then yeah, you're talking about the denominations of what's staked. Is that what you were?
Yeah, and also what's deposited, right? We are like right now the vault itself has only like you can't deposit any arbitrary token into it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Do you know if there's any like legal reasons why most projects use USDC, or is it just easier?
yeah, I think it's just like convenience, I think. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
there's a reason why.
I'm
So
not sure about any legal reasons here.
that'd be interesting to look into.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Were there any last minute things that we haven't talked about yet that you want to showcase about the project? Talk about things coming down the line.
um, not quite. I think I have like a user feedback form I'll
Oh yeah.
bring out, but like not in the call, like after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Please share that. Yeah. So in that case, maybe leading over to, yeah, for those who are watching, do you have any ways that you would like them to connect with you, to learn more about the project? You mentioned the feedback form, so we can share that in the link.
Yeah, I'll share it on my Twitter, so you can, I think, follow me. And also, like, I'll put it on the 0x's Discord.
Okay, sweet.
So yeah.
That'll be great. And then I guess we'll see you at ETH Denver then. Are you guys building this? Oh no, you said you're going to be launching this. Are you also planning on using that time to hack, or mostly just focusing on?
Yeah, I usually, that's like why I want to go to ETH Denver too. Is like have built something there during build week. So yeah.
Portifi V2 or level
No, we start building our own strategies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. With that, then maybe we'll wrap it up. But yeah, definitely check out Kunal. Follow Kunal on Twitter. His links down in the profile below. Maybe do you want to shout out your handle since people are just watching?
I think it's Aurora by Kunal. So AURORA by Kunal. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, with that, thank you for coming on the show. Always good to chat with you. It was fun. Maybe like background story. Like got to meet you before at ETHSF and hear a little bit about your interest in what you're building. So really cool to see it come into fruition now, and then now kind of advancing into the next stages, getting user feedback, building into like a more solidified application. So thanks again for coming on and sharing the knowledge about what you've learned at the hackathon. Also just building this project in general. So
yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah,
cool. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
See ya. I'll take you back screen. So yeah, thank you all for staying on for the show. I'm gonna wrap up with just some announcements about we mentioned ETH Denver. So let me pull that up on screen for you all. So yeah, as I mentioned before, where's the next place that you can find the where you can find the 0x team. Well, spoiler alert, we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier with the call with Kunal, but it will be at ETH Denver. So, if you're thinking of a project and wanting some, time to build that out, just be amongst really cool people. Definitely go to check out ETH Denver this coming March. So the event it runs 2 weeks. So there's a buildable week. It happens the last week of February, but the core event happens the first weekend of March. So first long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. ETH Denver, for those of you who have not heard of it before, it's the longest and largest running ETH event in the world. I think it started back in 2018. It's, again, this huge event that if you are looking to build, looking to learn, just hear the latest research that's happening in the space, ETH Denver is the place to be. And the ticket to attend is free, so definitely attend and apply earlier than later. The space starts getting more limited as we get closer to March. So check out ethdenver.com and apply to attend now. As I mentioned, 0x will be a sponsor at this event, meaning if you're building there, we will have prizes for those who are building. We will also have a booth with 0x Lab teammates to help answer questions, bounce ideas off of if you're building. So we'd love to see you here, and yeah, definitely plan for that for 2023. So with all that said, we'd love to wrap up the show by saying thank you again for tuning in this past year, this past season of Powered by 0x. It's been a really awesome first season. It's personally been an honor of mine to chat with so many different projects, so many different builders from across the space. I've learned so much about how we're thinking about approaching different aspects of building the space, from the user experience down to structuring the architecture of different applications. So thanks again for joining us, and look forward to seeing you all in 2023 with a new batch of builders, some new discussions that are pertinent to the space as DeFi continues to grow. So with that, happy holidays, and see you all in the new year.